Hey guys, Flyzone has come out with a new plane, the DC-3. I bought one and I'm going to tell you all about it. Stay tuned. So here it is, guys, Flyzone's new DC-3 Airliner. They also have this in the C-47 scheme, and it's the same aircraft. It's really pretty. I will tell you, my first impression opening the box was, wow, the paint's done really well. I love the decals. A feature that I think is really cool, because on a podcast we had on RC Roundtable, we were mentioning that not a lot of foamy aircraft or park flyers come with windows, and sure enough, they made windows for this airplane. It doesn't do anything to make the plane fly better, but I thought it was a nice addition, and it does improve the look of the aircraft. It really is pretty. I love the panel lines. It's one of my favorite airplanes. It's probably one of the most recognized airplanes. So I know when it came out, a lot of people looked at it and said, wow, that's really neat. And it's a park flyer too, and it's ready to fly. But there are a couple of things that I want to talk about, because when I bought it, it concerned me, and that was the price tag is pretty hefty for a park flyer. It's $160 on Tower Hobby's website, and that is RTF, ready to fly, transmitter, battery, and aircraft, but it is on the higher end of a park flyer. Now, granted, you are getting the aesthetics of a really nice looking airplane, but I wish it was cheaper or available in a bind and fly. And for that, I think I would have been happier to pay $120, $130 for the bind and fly, mainly because I have a really nice Tactic transmitter here, the 660. It's really nice, has a lot of model memories, works with all my other SLT park flyers, so I was glad to get another airplane that I could just toss onto this transmitter. And speaking of transmitters, I have flown this. I'll have a little piece about the flight performance a little later. But this transmitter here, guys, and maybe some of you watching will agree, this is it's a toy transmitter. It really is small, and I like to use rudder because this does have rudder in it. It's rudder, elevator, ailerons, and throttle, and it keeps getting mixed up with the throttle because it's got a weird curve to the gimbal anyway. Not a big fan of the 403. It's nice that they included it, but I would have rather just had the bind and fly and then use my transmitter. I don't think they'll ever change this transmitter, and as a side note here, it's kind of unfortunately in the business, you know, Hobbyco has been purchased by Horizon Hobby, and some of the concern out there in the market is, will Flyzone stay intact? Will E-flite take it over? Will they just change the name and continue building these? We don't know. And the big option here too is, will Tactic stay in business? I like the Tactic radio. I like SLT. I am a Spectrum guy, but I have reviewed the Tactic, and I do like it a lot. And so I'd hate to lose out on flying other SLT aircraft, but we'll see what happens in the market. Let's talk about the plane and its performance. This is weird. I have the Flyzone P38, and what I love about it is that it's in one little box, has the little handle like this one does, but it's already assembled. I don't have to do anything to it. My transmitter will fit, my batteries will fit. I take the box with it, open it up, I'm ready to go. The problem is with this, the plane comes in two halves, the wing and the fuselage. And don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not trying to just complain out the schnoz here. It's not hard to assemble, but here's the catch. These little screws that keep the wing on are very tiny. They're like eyeglass screws, and you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and specifically a jeweler's screwdriver, and it doesn't come with one. So you get the screws, no extras, and you've got to be very careful about putting this wing. So when putting this wing together. And my concern would be, if you intend to use the box as your transporting carrying case, and you have to remove this each time, I think this is a poor design. Now, that being said, I have not unscrewed this wing since I got it. I just tossed it in my car like this and carry my transmitter. But I think they could have gone a little step further and perhaps created a notch in the wing to slide into the fuselage, and either use neodymium magnets or a tiny latch system to connect the wing. And you have to have really tiny fingers to insert the aileron and power cables onto the receiver. I've had to use a hemostat to do that, and it's cumbersome. And it only applies if you're having to remove the wing each time and use the box. But if you just leave it connected like this and CA the wing on, there's you don't have to worry about it. But I want to mention that in case you were thinking this box is going to make this easy to carry, and it doesn't. What else did I want to mention? The battery is nice because it's one of those universal batteries I have with my other Flyzone airplanes. It's a 1S250, and a cool addition that this plane has that my other Flyzone planes does not is that the battery cable inside is long. And you're like, well, is that a big deal? Well, it is if you're fat-fingered like me and you've got to hold the plane and put the battery in. They give you like a 2.5 inch extension now versus one where the connector is like right there, and it's a struggle. This is not. So kudos to Flyzone for extending that. So when you connect your battery, it's really easy. It's a nice big space in there to shove the battery in, and it's convenient. So thanks. That's really nice. And the other thing is these little 3 neodymium magnets. They're really strong, so the nose will not come off. So again, nice feature. If this is a plane you're interested in, I'm going to suggest you nix the toy transmitter and look into getting a programmable 660 or used 650, anything else on the market. It makes programming this thing easier. And something I haven't tested yet is I feel like the throws on the plane are increased using the 660 than with the 403. The first time I flew it was just outside my house. I didn't put a camera on my head, or I didn't have someone videotape. I just wanted to see how well it would fly, and it was a dog. It was really difficult to fly and maintain. We go into more specifics. It needed more power. And so when I finally, after a few seconds of just trying to struggle with it, because I gave it a gentle toss, I had to bump the power to full throttle to keep it stable, or at least for me, in control. And I did a couple of circles, and it was a little windy, so I decided to land it. And so the key thing for me, and this is maybe my opinion, is that I brought the throttle down. I was bringing it down past half, and the thing just dropped like a rock. Now, unlike my P38, my Flyzone P38, this is totally different. My P38 will sit there and glide. This has no glide ratio whatsoever once you pull that throttle down to half. And that's disappointing for a couple of reasons. You don't want to run the motors at full throttle the entire time, and you're going to have short flight performance, and you're going to just drain your battery, so you're definitely going to need to have more. When I landed, I broke a propeller. And that goes on to a couple of things that I also want to mention in this podcast. One thing is if you look here, guys, the props have the same height as the landing gear. And actually, if you look really closely, they're even longer. So Flyzone made a mistake. These landing gear struts are too short. They need to be another ½ inch longer. And I don't know what the reason is. I'm not sure why they missed that. But when you're taking off, if you're level, these props are going to hit the ground. So that's bad. My other buddies with the RC Roundtable, they also broke their props. Now, I'm not saying we're the best pilots, but the fact that all 3 of us broke our propellers tells me that there's either the landing gear is an issue, or that these propellers are very weak. What you need to do when you buy this plane is go ahead and purchase the extra set of propellers and prop hubs immediately. I highly recommend that. In fact, I bought 2 of each, mainly because I'm kind of concerned where Flyzone and Electrifly are going to be, because if you do buy this plane, we're not sure about the stock. You want to get your hands on these. They're also the same props and spinners for the B25. I'm not sure if they're the ones for the P38, but I'm going to guess that they try to keep everything universal. So buy yourself some extra props and hubs, because they're counter-rotating engines, and you're going to have the right one. And the reason I say buy 2 is because you don't want to make the mistake of seeing that you have a prop and then realize you have the wrong rotational prop. So in any case, I broke the prop. I was able to change the prop. It is a tight fit in there. You're going to need some really thin needle nose pliers to do that. But once I got it done, everything was back up into normal, and then I finally had the chance to go take some better flight footage of flying this thing, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Now that you've seen this thing flying, let me point out a couple of things I want to share. It flies really well. I mean, if you saw the video, it does weird rolls. It has a very strange power stall. I don't know if you saw it, but there's a video where I'm on power, and I'm just sitting there in this climb, and the plane just kept going and then rolled on its back. So normally you get planes that roll on the side, but this thing actually does a loop, a power stall loop, and that's a thing. And it's controllable, and I was able to fly in that tight space, and that's good. I mean, I'm not trying to criticize the flight performance too much, except to say that I had to keep full throttle the entire time. And if it dropped back just a little, the plane sunk. And that concerns me. I'd like to have a little room to have throttle control and save more battery life, and this plane doesn't offer that. If you buy it because you want to fly it and it looks good, you've got to win here. But if you want a better performance or something that flies at least longer than 3 minutes, it's hard to recommend. And that's just my opinion. If you also saw the landing, okay, it was a little dorky. I didn't want to land on the street again because I hadn't changed the gear and the prop clearance was not high enough. But unfortunately now I have another problem. My shaft on my left motor is loose. I haven't taken it apart yet, and I'll dig in deeper to find out what I did. But I don't think I landed that hard, and if you heard, I was really dropping the throttle, and I had a full up elevator on that landing, guys. So that is, again, concerning to me that I can't do that. I think what I will do is, once I get this fixed, I'll extend this landing gear, and then I'll try to maintain this on a hard surface versus trying to land in grass. So let's hope this is a minor repair, maybe just something popped loose. I don't want to spend $20, $30 for a new engine to sell. That puts this thing in almost a $200 kit now that I've got these other spare parts, and that's a number I don't like to get to for a park flyer. So that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little this review. I kept it very raw here. I didn't take any cuts. That's the plane. It sure is pretty. I can't wait to hang this or something in my hobby shop because it looks really pretty. And if I get a chance, I'll tie in links for future videos. My buddies Fitz and Terry, like I said, also have this aircraft, and Terry has done the C-47 towing a glider. So hopefully keep looking in the comments section below or the little description. I'll put the links to his video once he releases it. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.